If you had questions about the subpar video quality in some of the past videos, I might have some answers. Namely this thing. Don't believe its lies. It's a knockoff GoPro. It does not cost a huge amount of money. I did not get these because I expected them to be marvelous, quite the opposite. I got them because I expected to be able to use these guys on it. I'm a big fan of DSLRs, and I really don't want to shell out another $1,000 for a DSLR that can actually do video as well. So I decided to cheap out for a little bit and see if I could do interchangeable lenses on these guys. Now you'll notice that this isn't exactly an interchangeable lens mount. You wouldn't expect this lens to come off. But intent isn't always how people use products that are manufactured. We can actually take this camera apart incredibly easily. So you can see this bezel over here actually snaps apart. So on the front face of this camera, where the lens is, you can actually sneak a fingernail underneath. And if you work it across, this is just naturally going to want to pop out in response to the indentation pressure. So just work your way around, find all of the little tabs. It's fairly soft plastic. Comes out. You'll see the lens over here. If you look into the guts, you might see some hints that it's been rubber cemented into place. That's normal. The first time you remove this lens, it's going to be a huge pain. You're just going to be cranking on it. It's going to be pretty difficult. But when you break it free, it will spin rather freely. You'll be able to get it out. Then you'll be able to marvel at the incredibly huge sensor. That's not a very large sensor. And take some random lens that you found for a CCTV camera. Find the threading in there. Give it a backward spin until you can feel the threading engaging. And then screw it back in. Now at this point, this cover still doesn't go back on. You want to take something, and if you don't like getting your fingerprint oil all over everything, you can use some sort of small object to poke this button and turn on the camera. So at that point, if you have the lens cap on, you're going to get lens cap footage. So take the lens cap off, and you're going to see some issues. So two issues you can see very clearly here. Well, now you can see them very clearly. It's not the camera that I'm filming this camera with that's out of focus. It's the actual camera. So you can twist the lens to manually focus it, that's right. No autofocus here, folks. And you're probably going to be spinning it clockwise to tighten the lens in for a while. Then the camera is going to fall asleep on you. Then you're going to be spinning for a while longer. Now, this tiny little screen is not going to be enough to focus this. So you have a micro HDMI port here. Make use of it. Plug it into an actual full-blown HDMI monitor and watch the focusing there. Focus it at a reasonable focal length for whatever you plan to use it at. This is kind of telephoto-y. And then notice the other issue. The lenses that I bought were $2 lenses, so yeah, go figure. Didn't expect the highest of quality. But they don't have infrared cut filters on them. So they take in all of the infrared light in the room, and I guess my LED bulbs are generating quite a bit of it. So the video is all a weird color. It's washed out. That's fairly standard, and it's a result of the lens that I'm using here. Not quite sure what to do about that yet. If you've ever noticed a time-lapse in black and white, it might be because these colors are all screwed up. And no, you're not seeing wrong. That is indeed a zoom lens. Ultimately, I've decided that mounting CCTV lenses on these is a bit more trouble than it's worth. You wind up having to glue these lenses into the threads to get them to not wobble around. This zoom bit, when you try to pull on it, actually rotates the entire lens, and you will notice that these are actually screws. They're liable to falling out. So unfortunately, that's the point where you realize that mirrorless camera bodies are getting really cheap if you look at the first generation ones. And I already had a few lenses from many years ago. So I got the body, got an adapter, and I use this now. Except for when I'm trying to take a video of it, so I'm shooting this on one of those. Even though I now use one of those, which is a bit of double talk, isn't it?